Y'all, so it's July 23rd, 2026, Thursday, and we're going to do a market review on NQ, and I took some trades on gold today. So if you've seen any of my prior videos from this week, I mentioned how I wanted to go short on NQ at this 50% discount level. So I took this range. This was the most recent range. We took out these lows here on the daily chart, and I wanted to see some type of retracement before trading lower. So we got that retracement on Monday and Tuesday, and we're trading in this daily fair value gap, and we're in a premium price range. So a lot of confluences. Yesterday, if you see my video from yesterday, I was spamming sells. I wanted to sell so bad, but market wasn't really going too much for sales, even though we did close bearish. Like if you look at the daily candle, we closed bearish on the day, but it wasn't really giving me the sales at the time that I was looking for it in particular. But today we ended up getting the entire full run for the day, and we had a news driver at 8:30. So I feel like that was really the main catalyst I was missing yesterday, because price action essentially developed the same way yesterday, but we just had that continuation. So you see this 2 a.m. for this candle open at 2 a.m. this 4-hour candle, another 4-hour candle bearish, but we just had the continuation for the next candle. And you see how this candle opened, retested the new day opening gap perfectly, and sold off. And then you could also have used that daily fair value gap also as a reference point. So we had closed lower. Well, we traded into it during Asian session, but ultimately we rejected it. We didn't even get back to the midpoint. We started trading lower. I missed my entry points, honestly, and I was trying to catch a falling knife. I mentioned that in my prior video, like I was trying to buy, hopefully to get into a sell, and I did get into. I was able to buy a retracement. It was a 50% retracement, but at that point, I didn't really trust the market to keep going lower, but it absolutely did keep going lower. So these are learning lessons for the day. So I'm gonna go over the setup that I took after 9:30 that made me some change, and then I'm gonna go over to gold and my thought process for gold. Also, I was also bearish on gold. Gold was trading higher all week, and I was just waiting for that down movement, honestly. But with NQ, so at 7, we had this retest of the new day opening gap. We traded lower going into 9:30. So at 9:30, all I was looking for is just a retracement, at least 50%. Because I told myself, okay, we get 50%, sell lower. Honestly, this really was a good entry. This really was a good entry. You could have took this entry on a 15-minute, 50%. This would have been glass. I need to watch my own videos with my bed so I can remember the plot. You know, sometimes you get lost in the sauce, all this movement going around, you get lost in the sauce. And then we also ended up trading below the new week open gap, and then more shorts afterwards. We got closed below, and we stayed below, no closures below afterwards. So it was a lot of confluences, honestly. Could have taken it, but you know, more damage is done in the mind than it is actually out in the physical. But it is what it is. Mm, so we did get this continuation going lower after this 50%. Nice run lower. We took out these daily lows. We took out the weekly lows. So this is our new low for the week. And we're going into Friday. So let's see. Well, do that afterwards. I'll get my opinion afterwards when we finish this. So end up trading short lower. This right here is the first presented fair value gap on the 1-minute chart. So I took a few buys coming down here. Didn't work out, but I took one buy at open at 9:30. Stopped out. Then I took my next buy here, and we had a nice run. I took profit at these intermediate buy side, this intermediate buy side, and you see we kept getting a run lower to 50%. Could have held to that, but I was really just trying to make my money back. I feel like my headspace wasn't in the right space. Just my thinking wasn't aligned with the movement in the markets. Honestly, I feel like I was in a scarcity mindset, and not expecting the best outcome from these markets, and really just trusting the market to do what I anticipated it to do, honestly. But let me show these executions, and then I'll go over to gold. So this was my first buy attempt, stopped out. Took another buy attempt, stopped out. And it's like a mindless. And then I took one more right before 9:30. I should have just honestly, I should have just waited. Stopped out again. So three losses, three losses, and then this one win cleared all of that. So winners obviously bigger than the losers. Just avoiding the unnecessary losses, honestly. So we about to go over to gold. Show the trade I took on gold. I'm covering execution for now. Gold, I also was expecting lower prices from gold, but we ended up trading higher most of the week. So tomorrow, going into tomorrow, I would want to see lower prices. So this is a daily outlook. Cover this. I joined. So this is a daily outlook right now. We're clearly in a downtrend. I want to see if these lows get swept. I feel like these lows are smooth on the daily time frame. Show joins. I want to see these lows get swept. I want to see if we get it tomorrow, but low hanging fruit objective for tomorrow. I want to see a closure below this gap. We're already on the bottom half of it, so that's a good sign for me that we're trading on the bottom half of this gap. Now I just want to see us push lower, low hanging objective, the new week fair value gap. This is a new week fair value gap. It's not a weekly fair value gap. This is a new week opening gap. So I want to see this low hanging fruit objective hit at least. And then, but if it pushes through, great. But if we don't get that, at least just this, the top of this new week opening gap. So some type of like 4 hour closure. See, we traded back above. So let's see what we do during Asian session. I would like to see Asian session trade to this 4 hour gap, then reverse and drop lower, ideally. But this was a setup I took. 9:30 open. We had 9:30 open. Here, we already had all of this run lower. I didn't catch any of that run lower. So I just waited. We had this 1 minute fair value gap. And that's where I took my initial entry. My initial entry was here. So we had 9:30 open. We had to run up. So we have our open, high, and this was this is our low. Look how smooth these are. I think we're gonna take these when we open later on today. But my initial target was I wanted to see if we could trade to the weekly, but we had so much run prior to 9:30. I feel like when you see London session and pre-market just start just dumps, I feel like New York session is gonna be sloppy, or it's not gonna give you too much too much action, honestly. Because look at this, and then look at what we had prior, the prior run, pre-market and London session. So, but seeing this run, we had our open at 9:30. We traded higher, and I was looking for lower prices, so I wanted to see these lows get swept, and we got that. I ended up taking my profit somewhere around here. I ended up closing out, but that was a nice little run lower. Entry here, nice run lower. This is some nice price action, even though like you zoom out, it's real sloppy. But this was probably the best run for the day. A simple run, not too long, not too short, and it was around 950 macros. So the macros will be the last 10 minutes and first 10 minutes of every hour. So 750 to 810, 950 to 1010, 850 to 910. So like those macros, but those macros appear every hour of the day, but those are like the most significant ones because you could get a macro from 350 to 410. But I'll show these executions and then we'll be on our way. Wait, so yeah, like I said, simple execution. We did get this sweep. Should to my profit, cut to my profit, but all good. So today ended out well. If I had to grade myself, I would give myself a, let me see. I'm thinking. I'll say like a B minus. And really because it's gold, I feel like I executed well on this gold trade. So I say a B minus. Honestly, maybe even a C if I'm being a tough critic. C plus, yes. Like a yeah, C plus. But that's all for this video. I do want to give my opinion. Let's see what I think about NQ. So I mentioned I do want to see this weekly, and I do want to see this new week opening gap here on gold. And then for NQ, let's see if these lows get swept tomorrow. Because this was a nice daily close. I like this. I like this daily closure. If we get a retest here, I want to see if these weekly lows get hit tomorrow. So we'll just see how the day plays out. And until next time.